Before we begin in this journey of Connect Groups, I want to invite you to download the Bless app. So for you to get the most out of the next Connect Group session and for you to join in with us as a church, we are going to love our neighbors strategically and practically together. The app is going to help us pray for our neighbors daily. It's going to help us listen to our neighbors. It's going to help us with the habit of eating with them, of serving them, but also lastly and most importantly, helping us create a habit of sharing the gospel message that has changed our life so that it might change theirs. So would you download the app? Here's the QR code, and I want to invite you to do that because it's going to help you in the weeks ahead put into practice the habit of sharing your faith. Connect Groups, welcome to week 3 of us looking at the spiritual discipline of sharing our faith. Tonight, we're taking the next step in looking at the acronym BLESS. Last week, we talked about beginning with prayer over our neighbors, that they would hear the gospel, they would respond to the gospel. Tonight, we're taking the next step looking at L. We're looking at listening others. In order for us to bless our neighbors, Jesus invites us to listen to others. We see this in Jesus' life when He's performing miracles. He not only just walks in, heals people, and moves on, but He listens. He responds. For us as followers of Jesus, as we think about sharing our faith, sometimes we get so worked up on we must share our faith that all of a sudden our gospel sharing, our outreach, our evangelism ends up being more like a shotgun where it's just poof, and yet we haven't taken time to listen. This part of sharing our faith, listening to others, allows us to hear, do our neighbors have something emotionally happening? Do our neighbors have something practically happening? Do our neighbors have something spiritually taking place? As we consider Paul, as he goes into the city of Athens, we see him listening to the city around him where he's passing statue after statue, idol after idol. He is listening to what's taking place in the culture in order for him to respond. So for you, you may be listening to your neighbors, you may be listening to your coworkers, you may be listening to your family and considering what is taking place in their lives in order that you may know more about them so that you may better share the gospel with them. I think Paul sums it up great in Colossians 4, where he says that we should continue steadfastly in prayer, watching in it with thanksgiving. But he also asks this, he says, pray also for me that God would open the door for the gospel message to go forth. And yet he's in prison, yet he's still considering, I'm in a place where the gospel message would go forth. And he says this, walk in wisdom towards outsiders, that you would make the most use of the time, the best use of the time, and let your speech be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you would know how to answer each person. Paul is calling us as believers to listen well, to speak well, to make the best use of the time. And for us, we're going to look at the spiritual habit of listening tonight. So as you jump into these questions, would you consider how God is already working on your heart as you're praying for your neighbors consistently, daily? We're going to begin to ask God, would you help me listen well to the people in my life in order that the gospel message might go to them, because I understand where they're coming from, in order to understand how I might bring them closer to God through faith in Jesus Christ. Have fun talking tonight.